Welcome back. My husband, 37, and I, 32 female, have been married for the past 10 years. Our marriage was great in every way, except we couldn't have children of our own. Even though we couldn't have our own kids, our marriage stayed strong. My husband never had a child with someone else to secure an heir. When my sister-in-law got caught up in drug problems and our family had an intervention, my husband and I were more than willing to look after her kids in the meantime. The kids had no other place to go because their father was abusive, which led their mother to turn to drug addiction as a way to escape. The kids were really young, with the oldest being 10 at the time. I don't think they even remember what happened in the past. I always wanted kids of my own, so I cherished the moments with her kids. We raised them as if they were our own. I hoped that it would never end. The kids were safe, comfortable, and happy. My sister-in-law went in and out of rehab for 2 years. Meanwhile, we raised her kids. In the middle of the 3rd year, she seemed to be slowly getting her life together and was eager to be with her kids again. We got so used to being like parents to her kids that it became tough to let go. I suggested we keep taking care of them while she figured out her direction in life. The idea of losing the kids, whom I had grown attached to someone in recovery was really hard for me to handle. What worried me the most was the fear that she might go back to her abusive husband, and one day he might direct his aggression towards the kids. We had no choice but to return the kids to her, because the court had decided she was fit to be a parent. Since then, my sister-in-law and I have never gotten along. She has kept her distance, along with the kids. Fast forward to last year, my husband secured a summer job for his nephew, the oldest child of his sister's kids, at a friend's auto repair shop. He would be staying with us for the summer, just like old times. Or so I thought. It's been 9 years, and this man has grown, and he has developed quite well, especially in his appearance. Initially, I didn't think much of it until I noticed his physique and the way he would look at me. I noticed how much he had grown almost instantly when he walked through the door. That thought disturbed me, so I tried to avoid him as much as possible. But my husband wanted to recreate old times, forcing us to be in each other's presence, making us spend time together even if we didn't want to. Especially when I was alone with him at home, he would walk around without a shirt, and his flirting became more direct over time. It was more than just a sexual relationship. He became someone I could talk to and share my feelings and concerns with, someone who truly understood me. Everything was going great. I had the best of both worlds, a stable and supportive husband, and a spontaneous and exciting lover, all under one roof. That was until a family reunion 2 weeks ago. The nephew got really drunk and started getting too touchy. I tried to stop him and remind him where we were, but he wouldn't listen. He kept saying he was in love with me. People in the family noticed, and my husband noticed. When my husband approached him and confronted him, he tried to fight him off. He began boasting about our intimate moments to my husband, insulting him and taunting him, which got him a beating from my husband. After a few family members managed to pull my husband away, he confronted me. I brushed off his nephew's behavior, attributing it to him being drunk and talking nonsense. Nephew walked casually into the room and started boasting. He told my husband that he should break up with me because I deserved better. I felt so embarrassed and ashamed at that moment. My husband was getting more and more upset, and people were gathering around us, so I had to confess that I was indeed having a romantic relationship with his nephew. He was really disgusted, especially because the affair was with someone I had once thought of as my own child. I felt guilty about it, but we hadn't seen each other since he was a child, and were not related by blood. My sister-in-law is now claiming that I groomed him, even though I hadn't seen him in years, and he's now a 19-year-old young man. My sister-in-law has told the whole family about this, and my husband is nowhere to be found. He's not giving me an opportunity to clarify or explain the situation. How do I handle these big accusations and make things better? I think folks around my area might have heard the gossip. People are giving me weird looks, and when I walk by, they move their kids away from me. This is affecting my job as a tutor for kids with challenges. Parents are hesitant to have me around their children. Do I sue her for defamation? Today, my husband came home with a lawyer and gave me divorce papers, asking me to sign them right away. I was surprised and didn't get a chance to respond before he left. It seems my husband has been staying at his brother's place. Shortly after he left, the police came to ask me about my connection with my husband's nephew. His mother went to the police and claimed that I had been engaging in inappropriate behavior with him. She's trying to have me arrested, and he's not assisting in resolving the situation. He's not confirming or denying the accusations, and this is causing people to believe that I'm pressuring or scaring him. I've never acted inappropriately or shown any interest in having that kind of relationship with him, especially when he was underage. I helped take care of her kids, keeping them away from her abusive husband, and this is the thanks I get. He was like a child to me back then, and I haven't seen him in years. He's not a child anymore. Update 2. Hello. It's been over a year since my last update, and the past few months have been challenging. Even though I won the case that my sister-in-law brought against me, my husband still divorced me. Part of me hoped that things would go back to how they were after the case, but I should have realized otherwise when I received no support from him during the proceedings. I'm still disliked by the family and shunned by my community as the rumor about me being a child groomer spread. I'm too scared to go back to my hometown. I moved away to another town as soon as the alimony started coming in. I miss my now ex-husband, and I've been constantly trying to reach out, but he wants nothing to do with me. The main cause of all our issues has moved on with his life as if nothing happened. As if he wasn't the one who took the lead in pursuing a relationship with me, didn't agree to that connection, and didn't make an effort to support me during the case. It could have ended quickly if he had spoken up or hadn't done what he did at the family reunion. Now I'm the only one who's left as an outcast. I have to rely on alimony now because I have a record as a predator. I can no longer teach or find a job because of that record, even though I was cleared. Now I'm living off my savings and taking on odd jobs here and there. If you asked if it was all worth it, I would say no. A few hours of sexual gratification are really not worth it at all. Story 2. Last weekend, I cheated on my husband. We got married about 2 years ago, and we've been together for 4 years. We had a rushed wedding that probably wouldn't have happened at all if it weren't for a kind of ultimatum from my job. They said if we weren't married, we couldn't live together, and we'd be forced into a long-distance relationship. He was my first boyfriend, first kiss, and my first everything. My friends didn't like him, and my family wasn't too fond of him either. He identified himself as an asshole, and he loved arguing and showing people how wrong they were. A lot of changes were happening at the time, with my recent military enlistment. It led me to cling to the only thing I knew for certain, which was him, so we got married. He moved to where I'm stationed now, and naturally, I paid for our housing bills and food. He wanted to go to college here, but he only started enrolling and didn't try hard to get financial help or a scholarship. Within a couple of months, he got a job that paid minimum wage and had benefits and opportunities for advancement. However, he had a habit of spending his paychecks on junk food and marijuana. I asked if he could help out with finances, and he took charge of the internet bill. Then he quit his job, claiming that people at his workplace hated him and talked behind his back. He found another job at a corner liquor store with little opportunity for advancement and no benefits. I talked to him about getting a second job, and he said he doesn't want to. Instead, he would rather quit his current job and stay unemployed. This is about a healthy guy in his 20s who mostly stays at home, either surfing the internet or playing video games. Meanwhile, his wife, who works more than 50 hours a week, supports them. I've known about and been unhappy with this situation for months, especially feeling that he could at least help with keeping our home clean. So I talked to him about it. We argued about this at least every 2 weeks, sometimes with him completely avoiding the conversation as he wanted. But eventually, he listened to me, and I started noticing small changes, like him doing a load of dishes here and there. Things were getting better, and I always thanked him when he started cleaning up on his own. Nevertheless, we've come close to breaking up at least 3 times in the past year, but usually one of us will call Uncle. Back down. Around this time, I started talking to a co-worker of mine. We always had chemistry and the ability to have a flowing conversation, something I never really experienced with my husband. I opened up to him about feeling dissatisfied with my marriage. He was the only person I really talked to about the subject. This past weekend, I invited him for beers, and he said yes. What happened next was one of the best times I've had with someone. Eventually, we admitted our mutual attraction, and I'm ashamed at how easily I went to his place and cheated on my husband. I felt guilty the whole time, but that didn't stop me. The next morning was physically painful with guilt, and I was shocked at my own actions. I went home and confessed to my husband about what I did. He was shocked, of course, and for the next 2 days, we talked more openly than we ever had before and made love more times than we usually do in a whole week. I really tried to accept the idea of being with my husband for the rest of my life, flaws and all. But the hard truth is that I don't trust him with even the most basic things. I give him a key for laundry, and he loses it. I buy him a bike, and he leaves it outside overnight in a not-so-good neighborhood without locking it up. I give him the spare key to my car. Oops, now that key is gone too. How can I trust him with important things like kids or a mortgage when he struggles with basic responsibilities like a stable job and taking charge at home? Our personalities don't match well either. Before I cheated, I could hardly have a conversation with them without being interrupted and arguing. Now, people think I did something really bad in our marriage, and it's automatically my fault. But he wants to try and fix our relationship and stay together. He's really asking me to stay with him and give our marriage another chance to get better. Since I mentioned the possibility of divorce, he's been behaving exceptionally well. He's been cleaning up our apartment, quitting smoking weed, and even talking about God and suggesting we go to church. This is quite surprising because he has always claimed to be a strong atheist. He's behaving very differently now, almost desperate. It's making me lean towards ending the relationship even more. A man shouldn't have to beg his unfaithful wife to stay. We've decided to go to marriage counseling next week to figure things out. I'm feeling lost and unsure about what to do in this situation. I'd appreciate an outside perspective on the whole situation. Opinion. It seems like you think I might feel pushed to fix the marriage because I did something wrong by cheating. You're saying it's important to think about what I really want. You're also saying if I truly want to end the relationship, I should do it soon. Dragging it out could make things harder for both of us. You're saying that the way my partner is acting now might not last, and we could end up where we are now. If I mess up again, it'll be more hurtful. Your advice is to save time and emotions by deciding now. Thank you for telling me what you think.